We invited you today to talk about the petition that your group filed asking the Supreme Court to compel Congress to enact a law against political dynasties. And the question there is, pwede po ba to? Congress being a co-equal branch of the Supreme Court, can they compel?
Well, I think the point is that there must be a system of checks and balances, and the ultimate move is the Supreme Court in this case. So this is going to be a precedent, right? The precedents on whether the Supreme Court has that power. We are not the only ones. No, we are the third group that has filed the petition, and we are hoping. You know, they say that the Congress is the purse, the executive is the sword, and the Supreme Court is the conscience of the nation. So, sasabihin, it's time for the Supreme Court to come forward with something that it's a mandate of Congress, which they have not done for 38 years. So we are hoping that the Supreme Court will take on that very difficult and the precedents in our system, that the system must work, and it cannot work unless we have an anti-dynasty law.
But so there are several examples din naman from the ground going up. Just among them, BARM. The BARM passed the local government code of BARM for. Well, it has an article that says bawal ang mga kamag-anak to the second degree of consanguinity and affinity. Pero that's only beginning 2028, so meron pang konting palugit. There's also the BARM Electoral Code, which prevents second degree relations from running for the Bangsamoro Parliament. So from the ground, mukhang may ganun na rin. Yun lang, it's very specific.
That's why it's a good testing ground yung yung BAM, no. So alam nyo, when we were discussing this in the Constitutional Commission, that how do we make sure it's a participatory democracy, and the answer is that then we should ban political dynasties. And sa amin, among ourselves, we're discussing this. But what if our democracy improves, with over time? Tapos nasa Constitution yung 4 degrees or 5 or 6 degrees. And you need a constitutional change. So we left it to Congress and say maybe we can trust Congress. Now, when our democracy does not need that kind of prohibition anymore, ibababa nila 2 degrees. Maybe
flexibility
with political dynasty. We made a mistake, right? As I always say, we had 2 shortcomings in the Constitutional Commission. One is we overestimated the spirit of EDSA, and the other is we underestimated the greed of politicians for power and money. And this is one example of that.
And actually, that was what I was going to ask Attorney Monsod. No, in your petition, what definition of political dynasty is reasonable to you? To what level of consanguinity or affinity? Because I read part of the petition, and you were trying to draw a direct link between poverty and political dynasties. Anong level po of political affiliation or yung relation is reasonable?
I think 4 degrees.
Up to 4 degrees.
First cousins. Up to first cousins.
Up to first cousins, ibaban.
First cousin.
Yes, ang prohibition.
Chairman, mahalaga yung sinabi nyo kanina, no? Na overestimate nyo yung spirit ng EDSA, yung higher purpose, at underestimate nyo yung greed
of the politicians.
Nung sabi nga ni Cardinal Sin ay yung mga si Alibaba na tanggal pero yung 40 thieves na iwan, no? So ngayon ba Chairman, tingin nyo yung ganung klaseng pagtingin ay nagbago na? O baka mas tumindi yung greed ngayon, no? At yung spirit ng EDSA ay lalong nagwin?
Well, that's why I think we have to go back to our beginnings. And there are some evidence already that there is a hope of transformation from the bottom up, as already said, no, yung what happened in the communities, and there are good mayors who are incorrupt and who are very capable that have been there. Elected to office. So meron ng some steps up already, some improvement at the ground level. We just have to enlarge that so that it's a rebellion. It's a rebellion through fair and credible elections. It's a revolutionary movement without violence, but with our right to vote, using our right to vote. Kaya nga, ganyan eh. Tingnan ninyo nga yung sinabi ko, 58%. Sovereignty of numbers is with the poor.